We are setting up the YouTube link to go live on YouTube. You are listening to Dockside at the Bay, and we are getting everything together now. The gremlins over in YouTube are taking their time. And once we get that going, here we go. Just have to go ahead and share the link on Twix to the thousands of fans that we have. Um, Here we go.
Yes, sir. Nice big audience.
Yes. Copy and paste. And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dockside at the Bay. My name is Vinnie. This is Kim. Today is Tuesday, June 4th. We're already in June. Holy crap.
This, yeah, May flew by, and
It
now we're
did.
just like launching headlong into summer. I'm like, okay, this is fine. This is happening now.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm already decked out for summer anyways. I mean, once it gets to be 60 degrees, I'm in tank tops.
I don't,
Um,
it was raining and thunderstorming here earlier, and it was
well,
giving off this kind of gloomy vibes, not necessarily summer vibes. So,
very true. But welcome to Dockside at the Bay. We are going today is we're still in season two. Obviously we're getting into episodes 3 and 4. But before we do anything, I do want to give you a quick programming note. Next week, Dockside of the Bay will be on Wednesday night, not Tuesday night, not Tuesday the 11th, Wednesday night, the 12th of June is when we're going to be doing the next Dockside at the Bay, just to let everybody know. Um, Kim has a chance to go to a concert. I'm not going to hold that away from her. You got to live
I
life anyway.
appreciate it. I appreciate.
Um, but yeah, so next Wednesday, it'll be next Wednesday, not next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Also, as always, we are an official affiliate of the WWE shop, which is a Fanatics experience. Go over to sudsandsquaredcircle.com/wrestling merch, and that has our affiliate link in there, and you could get anything you want from WWE, whether it's WrestleMania based, NWO based. I just put in an order myself to order a new hoodie because I might be getting a job in a bakery where I will be in the freezer most of the day. So I'm going to need the hoodies. And all that might play into other stuff later. But either way, I'm I ordered myself stuff and go over there. Sudsandsquaredcircle.com/wrestling merch.
I might just
Also,
get a hoodie. I like hoodies.
you know what? I never really liked hoodies until I had weight loss surgery and started getting colder. Um, I was always a little bit more insulated than the average person, so I never needed a hoodie. But now I have a decent collection of hoodies. Um, Also want to make mention that the voting for the 2024 Sudsy Awards, the voting is still open. It will be open until Sunday, July 7th. Go to sudsandsquaredcircle.com/Sudsy voting, and that takes you to the Google form. Uh, there are, a number. We've got a good
Mhm.
sampling. I do want to go over one of the. I do want to go over while I'm thinking about it. One of the surprising. Well, I shouldn't say it's surprising. Here's the problem with polls and public polls. This is why I didn't do it on Twix this year, like I did last year, is because you get one specific fandom that basically um hijacks the entire thing.
Kind of dominates a little bit. Yeah.
Right. And we kind of saw that with the March Madness polls.
Oh yeah.
But that's fine because those are only kind of like 3-day polls. I didn't care so much. That was just for fun. But for the awards, we want to do a little bit more fairer. This one is actually close. Um, the soap opera feud of the year. The nominees are Clyde Weston versus Ava Vitale and Stefan Demera on Days of Our Lives. Victor Cassadine versus Port Charles on General Hospital. Carly Spencer versus Nina Reeves on General Hospital. Pete Garrett versus Adam Kenway of The Bay. And Nikki Newman versus Jordan Howard in Young and the Restless. And right now, three of those are pretty much neck and neck for the win, so for the lead so far. But yeah, so I mean, we did see earlier in the week, as you noticed, I did put up nominee videos. I've been putting them up all weekend for both the soap opera and the wrestling categories. I thought they came out very well.
I
Uh,
thought so.
and I've gotten, some really good feedback about them. But either way, in 2 weeks, so I posted those videos this week, which is the 2nd and 3rd and 4th of June. On the 16th, 17th, and 18th of June. Um, I may repost them, but include the name of the person who will be presenting the award. Um, because we do have a whole host of the who's who of wrestling and soap opera podcasters as presenters this year for the 2024 Sudsy Awards. Besides Christy, Kim, and I, we're also going to be having Matt and Kat from the 10th floor. We're going to be having Max from Max Updates GH. He'll be returning as well. We're going to be having the guys from Chair Shot Sports. We're going to be having the guy that runs the Revolution on Twix. He's a former WCW magazine writer, so there's a good wrestling connection there. Flobo Boyce, who I do want to let everyone know last Wednesday we did have a Squared Circle News episode with Flobo. Unfortunately, his internet was having issues, so we didn't really get a good thing. So while the live show that we had last Wednesday is still up there, you can still watch it. I'm going to take that, and then Flobo and I are going to reschedule, and then take the new one and kind of splice them together for a full podcast for the podcast feed when that takes place. Stay tuned for that. So Flobo will be presenting an award. We've also got David and Candace from Take Two Radio. We've also got Angela and Tony. Angela joined me on Suds News last night. Angela and Tony from the Petty Prattle podcast. We've also got Lucretia Lyon, who used to be on the GH Mini Spotlight with James Lott Jr. We do have Amanda Russ, who's currently on the YNR and B&B Mini Spotlights with James Lott Jr. Let's see. We've also got, for those of you who listen to Jim Cornette's Drive-Thru, we do have Charlie from Starkville, Mississippi, who will be presenting an award this year. And just as announced last week, author Guy Evans will be presenting a Sudsy this year. For those of you who are wrestling fans, Guy was the author behind Nitro, the incredible rise and inevitable collapse of Ted Turner's WCW. He also co-authored Eric Bischoff's most recent autobiography, Grateful, and also co-authored, of course now I'm forgetting his name. David Penzer's autobiography, Sitting Ringside Volume 1, WCW. So he'll be presenting award. It's going to be a jam-packed night. It will release on Sunday, July 21st. It's not going to be live. We don't have the budget to get everybody into one place, and I don't think we'll be able to sell out, a VFW hall, let alone a bingo hall.
Down the road, though. Down the
What?
road. Down the road. We'll be able
Yes,
to.
as a matter of fact, I did get an offer to do it live from the MGM Grand, one of the sports bars in the MGM Grand in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Huh.
But it would be too much for this year. Maybe next year. So
Maybe.
it's something to look at. All right. So getting into what you all tuned in to see, and that is episodes 3 and 4 of The Bay, which is of season 2 of The Bay. And we started out with a bang with Sarah in prison.
Yeah.
And
Poor girl.
yes. So Sarah goes, she's told she has a visitor.
Yep. And he's not on the approved visitors list. She has no interest in seeing him there. And he starts, how did you get here? You're not approved. What's going on? And he says, knowledge is a powerful, Nathan.
Yeah.
knowledge is a powerful currency and what it can buy you and all of this, he's trying to be all, just like clever and, just tricky. And Sarah's all just like turning him down flat. What makes you think I'd say or, reveal anything to you? Just, totally shutting him down.
Yep. I mean,
But,
and he's trying to charm her,
oh,
but
yeah.
of course he's been kind of against the Garretts for a long time now.
I mean, and I was trying to think of the last time like they really had like, significant interaction. And wasn't it when he basically like, revealed that Leah died?
Yes, I believe so.
So, I mean, yeah, like, obviously she knows or is aware of who he is, and obviously time has passed since then, but like considering that was like probably the last time we saw them interact on screen, it's like, yeah, she has every right to be just like, get the
Oh
hell
yeah,
away from me. Aren't I
yeah,
suffering enough?
exactly. And he's just that Weasley
Oh yeah.
paparazzi journalist.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
mean, he's trying to make it seem like, well, this is your opportunity to tell your story, to set the record straight. And, because you have no issues, like, you're making headlines already, but, Sarah starts just saying, like, all I care about is my family's privacy. And that's more than anything you could possibly offer me. Like, you can't give me that. So you can't give
yeah,
me any.
and he ends their conversation, well, almost ends it with, "I'm not going to bother you anymore. The story's still going to be written with or without you, but I wanted to give you, the
Yeah.
opportunity."
And then she calls him on it. She basically like I love it when she just like kind of hits the glass and she's like, "Get back here.
Yeah,
You're coercing me and that's illegal." And then he's just all, "Well, it's journalism." It's like, um, okay. Chance to tell the world your story, your truth. And then he's like, "Up to you, baby." And it's just like you can tell just Mary Beth Evans expressed just like no patience for this,
no,
idiot. Just like get away from me.
exactly. But then the conversation ends, and he says, "Sleep on it." So, yeah, we'll see if she takes up his offer.
Yeah, because Nathan does try, and like his whole like as his arc kind of continues in the episodes, he kind of is pleading his case, being just all like I am trying to like do right by the Garretts, I am, and nobody's buying it
Of course
because
not.
he's
Well,
been
even at the very last scene, of episode 34, he's sitting in the bar, or episode 33, he's sitting in again at the Garrett Tavern, and Zoe's, putting something away and turns around and he's right there. And she's like,
yeah.
"You're the last person I want to see."
Mm-hmm. Well,
Uh,
she had some funny lines. She had some funny, moments in there just saying like, like there's a, sign like, we can refuse like the right to serve, and
yeah.
names written all over it or something like that. But
Yeah,
she just
she's like, "I bought that specifically with you in mind."
yeah, that was it.
And
That was
then, eventually he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to help her. I'm trying to help get Sarah out of prison." And then he does mention, "But I do have some friends in there, like your mother."
yeah. And then Patsy Peas, man.
Yeah,
Just playing unhinged kind of crazy lady in jail.
yeah.
Just oh my goodness. I forgot how good she is in this. Like just how freaky and just
Oh
like
yeah,
you know, you can tell like, she kind of is like, invested in protect, but also just like kind of excited by the fact that like, she's like, oh yeah, you have to deal with all this crap too, just
yeah.
it's a mix of a, but of their scenes were so good and just so like put you on edge.
Oh yeah, they really were. Um, but the the scenes between Sarah, and I don't even remember what her mother, what that woman's name is. I don't think they've revealed it, have they?
Uh
Patsy, Patsy's character.
oh, Lola. It's Lola.
Lola. Okay.
Yeah. No, they
Yeah.
mentioned it in this episode. I don't think they mentioned it in the previous, but yeah, her name's Lola.
So she's interacting with Sarah a lot in
Mhm.
these episodes, because
Mhm.
we do see Sarah, at one point come out to the yard and
Uh,
get, harassed by
yeah, and freaking
and hurt
kid
drugs.
punched by, a girl gang. It's just, oh my God. Just like thrown into the fence. It's like, oof.
and
The new Black vibes.
going for the guards. The guards are nowhere around.
Oh yeah, and then basically, Lola says as much to her. It's just like, yeah, the guards aren't, they and she, I think, even said that in the last one, how like they're not going to be your friends. They're just going to throw you in solitary if everything with that. But
She does.
she's just like flitting around, singing and acting like just,
Oh yeah,
she's off her rocker clearly, but she also has some knowledge and she knows some stuff. But
definitely.
oof, yeah, it's just tough seeing. I mean, it's funny because it's like you go back to like, on because on Days back in the 80s, they had a whole little stretch when Kayla was in jail with, wrongfully accused of murder and that whole bit, but way more tame in comparison to like,
Of course.
currents you've got going now, which are just like it's like you just want to just like pick her up and hug her, and it's just like oof. Even though she is, and they remind us, it's like yeah, you're in here because you committed murder.
Right.
You wouldn't be here otherwise. So
And Days didn't have Big Candy to come
no,
save the day,
no,
and Candy basically picks Rhea right off of her and throws her.
just isn't putting up with it because she knows that Sarah obviously she could smell the money on her
Oh
and
yeah,
is clearly just trying to get some cash like whatever commissary money or however that works. She wants to get in on that action and get some money, so we know what
yeah.
her
She even
is.
says no. She's like, nothing is for free. Like
Right.
when shop pay hits the books, we
Yeah, and they pulled back from the whole like kind of innuendo sort of thing
yeah,
to basically just
sexual
say like I'm
innuendo.
yeah to be like basically like yeah I'm here for your money. So
Yeah, exactly. Um, but we also I gotta talk about it. Just kind of switching gears to and these two were short episodes,
oh
or
yeah, so
it
they
felt
definitely.
that
I
way.
think the first one it was like 19 minutes.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy. It's how much they can pack in to that
and
little amount of time.
the shows go by so quickly, because they do pack so much into it.
Mhm.
Um, but we did see the aftermath of Janice being raped some more.
Yeah, they kept on cutting to like we were getting like her kind of showing like her pain in the present and then jumping back to
Yeah,
this in the van. Just kind of intercutting between the two,
and
which
she
is
kind
just
of holds herself up in a hotel. She's going ahead, and the end of episode 3 was her in the shower, just
Mhm.
washing. And you could see the blood, and you
Yeah.
could see the dirt, the filth coming off of her
Just
body.
the most intense that they tend to close episodes on like we've seen them close episodes before on like dark notes or
Right?
suspenseful sort of notes, but that I think was one of the most devastating closing scenes that they've had, just showing her just collapsed in the shower just completely
Yeah.
just
And those scenes with her was like, I think that the flashbacks to it is what made it so powerful. Like,
right.
if you haven't experienced sexual assault and something to that effect, you really can't know what somebody's feeling, and you don't ever want to experience that, God forbid. But at the same time, if you haven't, you know, the way that it's portrayed here,
Yeah.
because watching so much Law and Order SVU, you know that, not many victims go to the police department or go to the ER or what have you. They
Come
always
forward.
you're right, they don't come forward.
Yeah.
But they do, so I don't know why, and maybe this is because I have a very logical brain, but I don't know why somebody would feel ashamed if they were sexually assaulted to come forward.
Mhm.
Like, are we
And
still that backwards of a society where you're going to look at now and again, and this kind of going, bear with us, folks, because this is going to go down a whole rabbit hole.
Mhm.
But we're also living in a society that somebody can easily make up a rape claim and it's followed through to the letter of the law.
It's just such a I mean having it where, even in this episode where they just show her like, just immediately just like needing to like clean herself off and, just scrubbing herself,
Yeah,
like that just is such even though like you watch SVU and they say you're not supposed to shower, you're supposed to go straight to the hospital, you're supposed to go straight to get, checked out, everything like that. But it's just like, her needing to just kind of wipe all that emotion and do, drown it away with
yeah,
that and with alcohol too.
no,
It's just like she's in just such a traumatized state. And then when she does try and disclose to Lianna
yeah. And Liana just doesn't.
that, it looks almost as if like, she was like, I mean, the way that they portray it in that scene, it's almost as if she just gets like, looks like she's been stabbed. Like the way that she even like her body language and just like the way that she kind of collapses in on herself, it looks like she's been like just stabbed in the heart or stabbed in the gut. And
Yeah,
it's just like it was such a devastating performance. And one thing I can appreciate the fact that like it's not being glossed over, it's not being shied away from, it's not being something that's just kind of brushed under the rug like, oh yeah, this happened to me, and her explaining after the fact. It's like, no, we're seeing it, we've seen, traces, flashes to it, we see her going through the direct trauma of it. I mean, it's there and it's presented in front of us, and it's just, because it's a reality, and it happens to, and it's just, but they're not shying away from it. And it's
right,
really, it's refreshing to see on, like, devastating way. I'm not trying to say,
right.
it's, but, just for them to just decide to just be like, yep, this is what's happened to this woman. And you're going to actually see her go through this trauma, and you're going to see her, come out on the other side, however she will, as a result of all of this, and exploring it versus just kind of, oh yeah, this happened, and then just kind of glossing it and putting it on, putting it aside.
It's almost like because even when Zoe was attacked at the end of the last season, like they did show some of the aftermath, some of her PTSD, some of her,
Mhm.
locking herself in her home and didn't trust, and whether it's hearing things or the person actually. Well, I mean, we saw the person, the guy was actually in her house in a closet, and he
Mhm.
was playing mind games on her. So I mean, we did see a different reaction to it,
Mhm.
whereas Janice, locks herself in a hotel. She's showering and just kind of holding herself together as best she can.
Yeah.
And then she hears voices, and lo and behold, Daniel's out, with Orchid.
Yeah, that whole kind of, and his being kind of, it's funny with Daniel. It's a little bit like, kind of jumping with him a little bit, and like all these, like it's like
Yeah,
you can tell like he's not just there for like comic relief. No, this they're developing his arc now, and he's trying to figure himself out, and he's trying to kind of
well,
find him out. But they keep on like putting him in all these kind of like situations, and you're just like, what's Daniel gonna do now? Like all of a sudden
yeah,
he's like
because
trying to jump out of the car,
yeah,
like with Avery, and you're just like, what's he up to? What's the kid doing?
yeah, because they didn't even show it. Like I was trying to see, well, do they show Orchid walking down the street? So he's trying to stop to
Yeah.
go hit her up, but no, they're like just out of the blue. Stop the car, pull it over, stop.
Yeah. And you're just like, what's going on? What's happening? And I mean, obviously we find out what's happening down the road, but yeah, it's just like, it's like he's trying to figure himself out, and we're trying to figure out what he's up to. Cause we can tell it like, he's kind of messed up at the moment and just trying to find a direction.
And
So
it's like he's paid for Orchid,
yes.
and they're in the hotel room. Even before the hotel room, he kind of glimpses Janice peeking out of the window, and
Mhm.
kind of registers in mind, oh, I thought I saw somebody I know.
Yeah.
And Orchid's like, no, well, right now all you have to worry about is me, or pay attention only to me.
Yeah.
She's trying to get her money's worth. I mean, the fact that
She tells him like, you paid for the full night, man, like, just, enjoy yourself. And he's just so far from that headspace. It's not, that's not,
and I
especially knowing that like there's potential that someone is like he knows that's in
right,
like him circle is potentially aware of what's going on. He's and then he's even when he's like starts hearing the noises through the wall, grabs the glass, trying to listen
yeah,
in. He's
and
looking for anything just to
yeah,
avoid being with Orchid almost. Just like I'd rather like listen to someone like potentially dealing with something shady on the opposite side of this wall
right.
rather than have sex with you.
And I like it how he kind of pushes her off, gets up, and he's shushing her. And he's like, "Don't." She's like, "Don't shush me." It's like, and it's like you want to root for Daniel to the point of, okay, I mean, as a guy, well, I'm not going to put words in a female's mouth, but as a guy, he's with an attractive woman. He's paid for her for the night. You know, he comes out and says that he's a virgin and he's never done this before.
What do you call it? The V word? Couldn't
Yeah,
even
the
say
word.
it. That little exchange was really like V word. Yes, no, like oh no, okay. It's like she like it just I don't know, just something about like that little exchange was kind of
Yeah,
sweet.
because she said she's a professional, so she could, he
Yeah.
could tell her anything, just to kind of put him at ease and make him feel
And
comfortable.
she's like, Mama's gonna take care of you, and then trying to get all like, a little aggressive, a little flirty, just trying to, and it's just, but again, not gonna happen.
But he does hear Lianna and Janice exchanges through the wall. That was a heartbreaking scene.
Oh my God. I
I
mean,
do feel for Lianna
yeah,
because she's got all this stuff going through her mind. She found out that her ex-boyfriend is sleeping with her mother,
yeah.
and it's like all this stuff. But then it's like Janice is at her most vulnerable.
Yeah. And then it was just like, you're saying the only like when Janice full on says, no, listen, I was raped. And then Liana's like, wait, was it Pete? And then Janice is like, no, 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 no. But then it's like all of a sudden her countenance changes and she's just all, well, why are you acting like this? Why are you lying? You're saying the one thing you could say that would make me pity you. You're not even a person. I mean, she just piles it on after that moment. Just, you're dead to me. And then the last like parting shot, if it's true, you probably deserved it. It's just like, oh my God.
And it's
Like,
like in a normal circumstance, you would be rooting for Liana to stand up to say Jensen or whatever,
right.
that like in that kind of a situation. But because we as the audience know what happens, and
Yeah.
Janice right now is a sympathetic figure, um, just Liana comes off crazy. She comes off just
Yeah.
a very, very aggressive to the point where she's the one we're rooting against.
Yeah.
Um, Amazing, just amazing work. I
And
can't.
even like Will had called it too when he was just like, we're gonna, I agreed to tell you if you don't go crazy. You already went off and but now here she is, in just that moment. I mean, such a well acted scene, such a powerful, devastating scene. And like I said, just Janice, the actress who portrays her, the name is escaping me at the moment, but just
Uh,
brilliant in that.
Lily Melger, Lily.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. But just looking like, like she's literally like just been like stabbed in the gut, just, like doubled over and just completely devastated. And then you got Daniel who's standing in the doorway, kind of like shirtless, confused, kind of
Yeah,
backs away, just isn't sure what to make of this whole thing. It's just like such a powerful scene in that.
yeah,
So much going on. And
um,
in keeping with the episode title, like intruders, it's
yeah,
like everyone's kind of like looking in on each other, but they're not really sure of what to do.
exactly. And even the one before, washing away the pain, because that's exactly what
Yeah, literally.
um, Jenny was doing.
Mhm.
Um, it was actually, these two episodes really only had a very core group of characters.
Yes.
We didn't see a lot of Bay City's, you know, citizens. We
Well, we
did.
did see Damien.
No, that's what I was just gonna say. We did see John Blackwell and his son Damien.
Yeah.
Brief.
Hmm.
John brings Damien to I guess it's a rehab facility.
I think that that's more dialogue than we've seen Damien have since,
Yeah,
he's just been, obviously, he was in, the coma after the OD, everything like
yeah,
that. And we got introduced to him at the start of season one. But, now we kind of see more of the father-son relationship that's there.
yes,
And we hear about Catherine, apparently. She lives in San Diego now,
right.
the mother. And, he's, well, shouldn't I be closer to her? Or should I, can we handle this? And then John Blackwell is just, no, I want to keep you close. I want to get to the bottom of this. He's in action hero mode.
And he does say, I have business in Bay City, and I
Yes.
want it close to me.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
but then, they're talking, and after, John says it's a good place for you to get yourself together and kind of, just work out whatever problems there are,
Mhm.
and then he does come. Damien comes out with well, Jensen didn't give me the drugs.
Yeah. Well,
Doesn't mention who did yet.
yeah. Well,
And
then he did, and then
we
cut to
cut right to
I
the
think
scene where, blonde guy, what's his name?
Matthew, I believe,
Yeah, Matthew,
the nurse.
the
Yeah.
nurse. Yeah, and I think Jensen called him warrior or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and Matthew
And that little
Jensen and wants to quit.
Mhm. And obviously that is not going to happen because
Yep.
Jensen let it happen. Basically says like, I know exactly what you've been up to. You've been running your drugs through here after you smuggled them out of the hospital. I mean, if you're willing to own up to that consequence, then fine. But and then we also see Muscle Man, the
So
bodyguard guy, who I don't think we've
Rocco,
been Rocco. Yeah, I don't think have we seen him? I don't know if we have. I can't remember. Yeah,
the first time.
but he seemed very eager to what was it? Break his thumbs, break his
Yeah,
hands,
and
something.
and then he
Done
brings
it a
up,
couple of times, whatever that threat was.
yeah, and then he brings up seeing Pete knock Jensen out earlier in the day,
Mhm.
on the news from in front of the courthouse. Like, oh, I'll go
Yeah,
take care of him. And Jensen, no, it's just a father-son problem.
yeah,
But how would you like to be my personal bodyguard?
yep. And then add it to your resume or whatever. And then I did love, again, testament to power of Matthew Ashford. Just I'll break his hands, and then he just turns to him. Well, you're very passionate, aren't you?
Yes, exactly.
Just like, oh my God, you just the way that man finds a way to just take like a and can we also talk about, as long as we're on the subject, the sheer creepiness that was
Oh,
also at the end of we're jumping back and forth a lot, but at the end of Intruders when we just see him in the beach chair.
yes, yes.
Like
Oh
I'd
my God,
forgotten that
very,
little
very creepy.
detail, and then I'm just like, oh my God, like just
And he was just watching Pete and Vivian, like, and here's where the majority of episode 4 was Pete and Vivian kind of reconnecting. So
which was lovely. Those scenes are great. I mean, I was saying to you earlier, I'd forgotten how lovely and charming they are together, and the
oh yeah,
chemistry between the two of them. Like even just that early on, like they are just so sweet and just like their dynamic. It's so just like natural, it's just so. It just you can feel that they've been friends since or known each other at least since like high school, and you can
oh yeah,
feel that connection is there, and it's just establishing that because obviously they become such a prominent pairing, but just so sweet.
oh yeah. And here's the thing is that um we lost my train of thought, damn it. But no, I mean in episode 3 at the very beginning we see them leaving the diner or whatever
Yes,
because Lianna and Vivian get into the argument because
right.
Lianna
That
finally fronts.
yeah, that argument too. I'd kind of forgotten with that. I mean, Vivian is very protective of Pete.
She is, and Liana's feisty.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lianna doesn't put up with shit, but the way Vivian was giving it right back to her, and you look at her, and she's like this cute little thing, and she's got her little glasses on, and she's just like, "I'll
And
marry
then
you."
she takes off the glasses.
Yeah, and then
Here
it's
comes
just
the pit
like
bull.
they start going for Pete, and she's just like, "Oh no, wait a minute, no, you got him hooked on drugs. You did all this stuff to like, she's clapping back, and it's just like you kind of expect her to kind of be a little bit more like shrinking violet a little bit, especially because Liana is so, but she gives it right back to her, and
Oh yeah,
it's a great scene, and just establishes Vivian's character, just like, no, I'm protecting this guy,
oh yeah,
agreeing to marry him, gonna protect him, gonna,
yeah.
just yeah, it's great.
And
But even like her saying too, like, I didn't want you to think that I was claiming you,
right.
and that exchange and everything too. And Pete said no, and just like, you're if I care about you too much. If I didn't care about you, I would like, consider this whole arrangement, but I care about you too much. And it's just like, oh,
And it's like that dialogue between Pete and Vivian really helped to move the story along
yeah, it
because
definitely moves the needle for
it
sure.
helped like it helped give the backstory between Liana and Janice, because the way he said, Liana's just had a lot going on in her life. She's a very angry person,
Yes.
and he's like, I didn't realize how much I would hurt her because I cared so
Yeah.
much about Janice that nothing really mattered. Um,
Just
and
being able to
Vivian,
reflect on all of that was
yeah,
a really good moment,
it really
because
was.
it shows that he's not like, I mean, because, he's not cavalier about it before, but he was very just like, he was so swept up in his feelings for Janice and just kind of dismissive, even though Leon, but he acknowledges the fact that, like, yeah, no, she was still attached to me. And yeah, I screwed up a mother-daughter relationship. And he's just taking ownership of what he's, of that entire situation, which,
And
still
Vivian comes out with, they're both crazy. You got to stay away from both of them.
she points out, the truth. There is, there's truth to that as well, and how screwed up the dynamic was between Janice and Lianna before Pete came into the picture between them, anyways. She does kind of point that fact out too.
Yeah,
And, also reminds us that, with the drug thing as well, like,
yeah,
she could have destroyed you. She
yeah.
could have, been the reason that so valid points on either side.
Oh, absolutely.
And just
Um,
really well done scene.
and I
Capped off
love
with the cute little flower situation as
that.
well. I really liked.
Oh yeah, no, that was cute. That was cute. Oh
I
yeah,
forgot about that moment.
I'm gonna go in the kitchen, see what I can rustle up and make, and
Yep. You
all
just
of a
hear
sudden
the
you hear,
scream, and you're
yeah,
automatically scared because you're just like, oh my gosh, now someone else is getting attacked. What's
right,
happening? But,
exactly.
she just comes out and got a face full of flour, and it's just like, oh, it's
It
actually a nice little sweet moment. Yay.
was very cute.
Yeah. And then,
Uh,
but then capped off by the creep moment
yeah,
with
uh,
Jensen sitting poolside watching them. Just,
it was very very creepy.
eesh.
Um,
And
and
also another creepy moment, and this is a little, but I'm just tail end of Intruders, and this scene just kind of jumped out at me as well because we have that, they show the lights down in the prison and everyone's trying to go to sleep, and this was, before the entrance of the character at the very end. Why would a guard call a group of women pansies? That's weird.
that seems like old school. Like
I mean,
that's
yeah,
more of a stereotypical drill sergeant esque,
yeah,
you
but
know,
it's.
style of a.
I could have seen it if it was a male. Maybe I'm just being. I could have seen if it was a male person, but you're calling a bunch of women pansies. I just didn't really. Interesting choice, but anyways, no, we see the warden walking in. Their little high heels on, and we just have another creepy moment there too. Just terror occurs when the lights go out and then fade to black. It's like, what? Where?
Amazing, amazing filming.
Oh gosh, no, great, just and then fade to black, and then it's just like, wait, episode over. What?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
But
And-
oh, just the way it ended was just that ending was just kind of crazy. And again with the intruders theme and that whole bit, but it just, I'd forgotten that detail. And then I was just like a little bit like spooked. Just like, what are you
but that was, I
doing
mean,
creepy stuff outside of her cell? What do you want with her?
yeah.
Go away.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. And we do see Lola come up to the cell and
Oh yeah, the
reveal,
Lolo moment as well. Yeah, with just
and she reveals that we have someone in common, and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
your son Brian almost married my daughter, and
Small world, small town
yeah,
at Bay City.
yep.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, I think we went over just about everything in the
Yeah, I'm
episode
going back through here. I mean, yeah, we cut.
because we only had a few scenes,
Right, we
to,
covered
different settings.
yeah. No, I mean we didn't. I mean, Liana and Will, there was
Oh
a
yeah,
little bit just,
which led to Liana finding Janice.
yeah, just, they had a few like moments here and there, but nothing really.
I kind of feel bad for Will, and part of me doesn't understand his character that much because he cares about Vivian clearly.
Yes.
He does care about Liana, because we saw the one night they stayed together and then he kicked her out.
Yeah, and personally, I like the chemistry between
I
Will
do
and
too.
Liana. I see it more between, like obviously he carries feelings and carries a torch for Vivian, kind of established from early on. But it's almost as if like now they're trying to pivot and kind of put him in, Liana's. But their chemistry is solid. Their chemistry is
It
is
really is. And Liana, and Liana's, you know, she wants to find that special someone because I think she's kind of fed up with her lifestyle as a
Yeah.
prostitute for Jensen. But it's like the way that she, you know, Will gives her the idea, well, do you have any access to her credit cards or bank statements or accounts or whatever? And she's like, oh my God, you're a genius. And she kisses him on the head and
Yeah, the little head kiss moment, I noted that. That was cute.
yeah. And it's like, um, it's, I feel bad because on one hand, I feel like Will is a genuine guy, especially when he caught Pete and Janice, making out. And then, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to tell Lianna because she deserves to know.
Right. Yeah, she
Uh,
even calls it out. She's like, he's the only, the only one that can give it to me straight. Like, no one else can. He's the only one that can. Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like, is is he a true gentleman or is he in it for,
Because it's kind of, I remember that one scene where, they hook up and then the next morning, she's trying to just kind of, and he is all, get out of my house. I don't want to see you. And it was just a very like kind of cold and abrupt moment for him, you know,
very,
and you feel for Liana in that. And then it's almost as if like, well, now time has passed obviously since, but now it's just kind of like they're buddies and everything's okay. And but that one scene always kind of, I jump back to that because it was such like a, bit of a departure for Will because he's like, you weren't really expecting that morning after from him. But
and I think it just had to do with the fact that they hooked up because she was out prostituting herself basically and
yeah, yeah.
trying to stop her. So in reality, it was just like he
But
was,
like, get out of my shirt, get out of my jacket, just get out of my house. He had no patience for her in that moment. But
and
then
I
now
think
it's like,
and I think Liana craves that attention so much. So instead of looking at Will as a client, she actually looked at him as someone who cared about me.
yeah,
So cared about her. So at least then she would be like, okay, well, I'm wearing his shirt. So it's the next morning. We had a great night. What am I doing with my life? This is what I want,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know. And then Will kicks her out and does all that stuff, and it's like they just looked at it two different ways.
yeah, yeah. But like I don't. There is like just I appreciate the fact that like he even said like, and I mentioned this before, but like I'm only going to tell you this if you don't
Right. If you
go.
don't do something stupid.
Yeah, because he knows like she's got a short fuse and she's been through a lot, and he knows that she just has the tendency to just get volatile. So but yeah, just interesting kind of dynamic between the two of them. But when they have cute little moments together like that, they're cute,
Yeah.
So
But I guess I think that's about it. We've kind of covered
yeah, I think that we covered. I was just going through my notes, but I feel like we covered touched on everything. I mean, it was a lot happened, but it was a lot more
a
in
lot of it
just
was dialogue based, just kind of
yeah,
uh
longer sort of scenes, especially the Pete and
I did catch Vivian and Pete were kind of reminiscing, as we said at the poolside, and Pete brings up, oh, you mean like skinny dipping in the pool, during high school?
yeah,
And she said, yeah, and she brings up Mortimer and said, I always thought Mortimer was gonna
yeah.
catch us.
Mortimer, shout out to Mortimer.
Yes, shout out to Mortimer.
Yeah,
But yeah, I like the direction because it's almost like Vivian offers to marry Pete just out of she cares about him, clearly.
right.
She's not over him, so she's getting something, she's getting it two ways,
You kind of feel like it's almost like she comes back into town and then like but like just very like resting her head on his shoulder and everything like that, like still like carrying just
Oh
still
yeah.
very, you kind of want but you see like more of like Pete's appreciation for and like it's all starting to kind of flood back to him now, whereas before you're just kind of seeing it a little not one-sided but more now he's just like kind of looking at her in a different light
Yeah.
to a degree, which is very sweet and very
Yeah.
cute.
Well, folks, I mean, we've gone over everything. We've even gone a little deeper into some of the different situations
Yeah.
there.
But today was kind of, like you were saying, more dialogue, kind of slowed it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Still a lot going on, but it's like it's more we got to live in those scenes a little bit longer with the dialogue and the way that they played out, which I appreciated.
Well, folks, like we said, next week it will not be on Tuesday nights, it'll be on Wednesday, Wednesday, the 12th of June at 10 p.m. Eastern here will be Dockside at the Bay. And then
5 and 6, right? Yeah.
yeah, we'll be going over episodes 5 and 6 of season 2. Of course, you can find the Bay on Tubi TV, Amazon Prime, Peacock, and Popstar. Of course, on Popstar, it's not on demand, so you do have to watch at 4 or 9 p.m. Which I still think is crazy, but that's just me. Um, the fact that there's nothing after season 7, episode 13 for streaming, so
Yeah. Yeah.
we're missing out on almost a season and a half.
We need more.
We do.
We
Absolutely.
need it all. We need it out there, man.
Yes, you do. But anyways, that's about it. So again, next Wednesday, and it won't be next Tuesday, it'll be next Wednesday, the 12th at 10 p.m. For Dockside at the Bay. Again, go over and vote for the Sudsy Awards, which is sudsandsquirtscircle.com/Sudsy Voting. Cast your votes, folks. You have until July 7th, so just about a month away, a month left to vote. And then we do have, we are an official affiliate of the WWE shop, which is a fanatic experience. So go to sudsandsquirtscircle.com/wrestling merch. And before I keep rambling on or whatever, we're going to be getting out of here because I am tired. I know when to admit my human side and when I get tired, it's just but then at times I don't want to sound like I'm rambling either.
No,
Um,
admitting to my human side too. A little tired as well, but yeah, no,
yeah,
good
but
episodes and looking forward to next Wednesday.
absolutely. And tune in next Monday for Suds News. Christy and I will be going over all the happenings of General Hospital, and then again, remember, it's not Tuesday next week; it's next Wednesday night, the 12th at 10 p.m. Will be Dockside at the Bay. All right, folks. For Kim, I'm Vinny. We'll see you next week, next Wednesday, Dockside at the Bay.